Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unemployed Millennial Podcast.
Hello.
I had my mom for my first episode on my podcast, and it is actually by far the most downloaded episode, at least on Spotify. Maybe it's just because it was the first episode,
Yeah.
but people also really liked that episode. And we did not film any video for that episode, and so we're back with video. If you're
Sorry.
listening to this on YouTube, the podcast episode that we filmed on the first episode, I just listened to it today, and we cover kind of all of your upbringing.
Right. So if you're interested, just go back on Spotify
And
and
rate.
Hmm?
Rate.
rate.
Give me a rating on Spotify.
Oh, and rate her.
Did you do that?
Of course.
All right. So we're going to get into this podcast episode. Basically, I have some questions that I thought were good from Instagram. So if you're following me on Instagram, shout out for answering the questions. But also be sure to follow the Unemployed Millennial Podcast because clips are in the making. All right. So getting into the questions that we were asked on Instagram, this is actually a good one that I wanted to ask or discuss with you for a while. Like, I've been thinking of doing like food related videos or health related videos because in my first episode I mentioned that you're one of the healthiest people I know, but not even just in terms of looking out for your health and eating well and exercising. I feel like you're ahead of the health trends.
Well, since I was probably 9, 10, I think single digit really. If you hear my first podcast, we really didn't grow up having money, and my entertainment was going to church and Family Fitness Center in Washington,
What-
Tacoma, Washington.
So you just like went on the treadmill all day or something?
No, no machines at all. It was aerobics, swimming, sauna. Back then, you could be 9-year-old girl or boy, and join the fitness classes.
I don't think we went into the backstory of how you were a fitness instructor in Anchorage. So basically, so you've been going even into the sauna multiple times a week, as much as you can. You'll go in for hours too. Before the Joe Rogans of the world made it trendy, you've been doing it. So forever. Now there are like a ton of studies. It's also weird because I'm a quarter Finnish, and that's like a Finnish thing to do.
Yeah. Sauna.
Sauna.
Not sauna, but sauna.
But the question from Tally Avo is body image back in your day versus how you grew up and how it's changed.
I think it's just more extreme now. I guess maybe just in my culture, you didn't really. I mean, I know in Korea it's totally different. If you have a scar or if you have deformity, it's they look at you like you're alien.
Really?
Yeah, back in the day. But I mean, I don't think so now. But I remember back in the day, even in early 90s in Korea, you didn't really see a lot of people into health fitness.
I think a lot of Asia.
Yeah, a lot of Asia, but
They were just trying to survive.
right, exactly.
Even when I interned in Shanghai, we all joined a gym, and that was like a pretty new thing, I think, for China.
Yeah, it's you have to have money to join, a fitness center or just anything.
And free time. You can't be working around the clock.
Right.
You have to have some leisure
I mean,
time.
well, labor was, their exercise.
Yeah.
Labor, working.
So you immigrated from Korea when you were 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
one of the questions, and we kind of just touched on it a little bit with the scar thing. Well, I guess, did we even answer that? Body image back in your day versus how you grew up, or how I grew up? I would say, I think there are a lot, I think, especially for girls, I mean, also guys, though, especially in the Instagram, like, social media era, that causes a lot of body issues.
I think they're trying to get away from that now because there's a lot of ads and posters, magazines, more full-figured now than before. I think this is just a recent thing, though.
I will say I grew up fat.
I wouldn't say fat. No, I mean you were just healthy looking.
And it's easier to move around, like, physically in life if you're in shape. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, because I remember I would just be actually physically uncomfortable in my body. And then I think what changed for me was finding, like, yoga and, like, going outside and just doing, like, walking or, like, running outside. But I feel like I never had an issue with my body image, either because I think I have, like, a problem. I don't think this is a problem, actually. Maybe it's a really good thing. But when I see people, I don't really see their bodies. I kind of only see their face. Like, it's hard for me to process bodies. Maybe that was from me growing up fat. So, like, I had to rely on something other than my appearance. But I always knew that I was beautiful on the inside.
Well, I didn't think we made a big issue of it either.
No.
Well, at least.
Did it? Were you like, oh, I might have to say something?
I just think, everybody, I knew it was just a age. You go through stages in your life where you're chubby, because I was very healthy. I mean, people used to say, oh, Chungmi, you look so healthy. Koreans would say, oh, you look so 건강해.
Even when I was, I think, really chubby, you never mentioned it. You're just like, you're a really good athlete. I remember one time I was in Callie's room and we were talking about, like, gymnastics or something, because Callie grew up really skinny and very athletic. She would spend like 4 hours a day in gymnastics every day. And you said something like, if you exercise more, you could be really athletic, or you're naturally athletic. You just need to, like, practice more or something. Do you remember that? Do you
Well, I mean, just
that?
core. I mean, when you exercise, it's just your mental. Just you're mentally prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And especially when you exercise, doing anything, you're working your core.
Oh, yeah, you would always say that, too, and I never really understood what you were trying to say. But I think I have a better I think also in the last few years, I've identified, I think you were talking about the transverse abdominals.
Right.
Because one time I went to yoga, and then she was like, the transverse abdominals, if you're in a plank position, and then you blow out, like, blow as if you're blowing something off of the mat, or you can just go on the floor. Like,
and you're putting your rib cage together.
Yeah.
And like you're sucking, like you're zipping
your belly
up
button to your spine.
Right.
Those are your transverse abdominals. But growing up, you'd always be like, tighten your core. And I didn't even know that this part existed. I could not identify. I had no awareness. That was not a conscious part of my body. So I didn't know what you were talking about. But you would always say that. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, just every time when you're sitting down, just tighten your core and, just suck in your gut.
Because if you have a strong core, I think this also, for me, yoga, like, was the game changer. Because I had back issues. Like, I had lower back issues when I was like 21 or something. When I bent over, I remember I was on a plane and I was like trying to pull my backpack out. My back hurt.
Probably because just from college, heavy backpack.
Oh, yeah.
The heavy
I always had
backpack
the
with your
heaviest
computers.
Backpack. Yeah.
Laptop.
But also, if you have a strong core, you're protecting your back.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So the core is very important. You've always said that, and I never really knew what you meant until I started doing yoga. So yeah, that's the body image. But yeah, you've always done a really, I think, good job never making me feel insecure about my body. It was always something that I eventually was like, oh, I'm kind of bigger than everyone.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I tried not to be, but sometimes maybe it was a little bothering, but I knew it was just a age thing.
Yeah, because me and Dexter grew up fat.
Well, he had different issue.
Well, maybe his issues triggered my issues.
Well, his issue was medication.
Okay. Well, yeah. I think my also was like a disconnection of mind and body. Like I was just not aware of my body until yoga. Okay, so that's kind of body image, and I actually think that really helped my upbringing at least, and maybe being dissociated from my body for a little while, because I just never, I don't know, I never like look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm gross, because I'm just like, I'm just like, my body is so incredible. It could do
Yeah.
so many things and take me to all these places. And even I remember in college, like one of my skinniest friends, she would still, I never edit any of my photos, my body, because I think that's so damaging
Yeah.
for expectations for young girls. And I'm also just like, I remember one time you were taking pictures of me and Callie, and we had you take like 50 pictures, and then you're just like, this is just how you guys look.
Just
I
was taking picture when I took a picture of Dad, and he says, "I can't believe you posted this because I look so fat." I'm like, this is what you look like.
Well, I don't think that's fair, because I think so. It's also up to the photographer to take a good picture and angle. Like you could be like straighten your back, whatever.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, one of my skinniest friends in college, she would Photoshop her photos and make her like stomach skinnier, and I'm just like, what's the point of that?
Right.
So I try not to contribute to the body image crisis in amongst young girls, and I don't know. I think it's kind of like a mental thing. You're focusing on the wrong thing, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's sort of how you grew up, raised.
Yeah, I think it heavily depends on how your mom views fitness and food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Korean culture is a lot of, vegetables and fruits and no made up carbs. So
The best carb rice.
right.
Okay, Jaemun. How do you actually say that? Do you know? Jaemun?
Chaemun?
Jaemun?
I would say Chaemun.
Korean American and Korean culture similarities and differences. You kind of talked about some of them, like food. Generally healthier, maybe not anymore, but
Oh, back in the days, yes, definitely healthier. And now that every international culture is all over the world, now you see a lot of obesity in Korea.
which that was never really a thing. I would even say when we first went to Korea, I didn't really see. We were like shopping in Korea, and we had to shop in the extra large section.
That's right.
Like the very first time, what was that, or that I remember, because I used to live there when I was like a baby, but I don't remember that.
No, that was when you
2014.
when you were still in college.
Yeah,
you were still in college.
I feel like it was 2014 to 2018. I don't know, but I would say still like you don't really see that many big Koreans in Korea, probably because Koreans are so materialistic and judgy.
Yeah, they're not. I wouldn't. I mean, what that? Not well. I mean, materialistic, but that doesn't really relate to that.
The aesthetic.
More. Yeah. The image. Just. Just a culture.
What do you mean?
I mean, Koreans in Korea are smaller, definitely smaller than Koreans here. Just like the Chinese or Japanese, you could tell the difference between Korean American, than Korean
Yeah.
living in Korea. So it's just maybe the food, all the hormones. I don't know.
Well, actually, there's like this whole discussion now. I talked about this in my Busan video where I just did like a little podcast on the beach. But the birth rate of Korea is declining.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in the next generation, I think it's like 0.8. Like, for every one parent, there's like 0.8. But then the next one will be, if that rate keeps going. So, one set of grandparents will have like, I don't know. I don't know how that math works. I read it and it made sense. But basically, there's not enough people populating right now.
Mm-hmm. That's why there are a lot of other Asians from China, Philippines, Vietnam.
In Korea?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you know,
interesting.
yeah, a lot of farmers. You know, who, I mean, women from Seoul, they're not going to marry farmer. So I mean, even a lot of people in Seoul have different cultures, coming from different countries.
So, do you think that is because of the culture in Korea, or what?
I'm not positive. I don't know the facts, but maybe just, I don't know. Just, Korean women are just not willing to put up with certain things.
Like, because I know in
They
China,
don't. They don't. They're not traditional Koreans. They're working class women.
like white collar.
Yeah.
Because when I was interning in China, I heard like women have all of the power. Like you'll see men carrying their girlfriends like bags because of the one child policy where there are more
Not enough.
men than women.
Right.
So women kind of get their pick of people, and then men will like cook for them. They'll like kind of do everything for them. That's what I heard. But I'm not sure that that's true in Korea.
Yeah, that it might be so. It might be this similar situation right now.
I guess you didn't marry a Korean man, so you wouldn't know
No.
what the Korean culture for men is,
No.
or why people are not choosing to have kids there. But I think it's like increased like competition. It's like really stressful.
I think it's just a generation.
Yeah.
Just, you're a millennial. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like, like over Christmas, it's funny because we went home to Alaska
Mm-hmm.
and nothing has changed there, but we're all like almost 30.
Yeah.
It's like even the same people are hanging out. Like some people might have like boyfriends or whatever, but like I was telling you, I'm like, I can't. Even like our family on Instagram, like the Kims, like they were all celebrating their Christmas with their immediate family. And I'm just like, wow, it looks like just nothing will or has ever or will ever change.
Oh, yeah, I think it's just coming back. This is kind of a circle. The old tradition, where millennials are coming back home or staying or just, they're just more not reliant, but more. It's just the culture is just going back in the days in the 70s, 80s, or whatever.
Like maybe your generation or like boomers left their families to like go do their own thing.
Right.
But I feel that like literally all of my friends, like I had a big group of friends at our house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there were at least like 10 people from high school, and we're all just kind of doing the same thing, which is kind of cool because it's like you can go back to a community that's like exactly how you left it. There's like a very big sense of stability or like grounding there. But it is also kind of weird because I'm just like, oh, is this ever going to change? Like I can't really, by the time like you were my age, you already had a kid, 2 kids.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's crazy to me,
Yeah.
But also none of my friends in Anchorage even have
kids. Yeah.
None of my friends are even, they're getting married, some of them.
Well, I mean, look at your cousins.
Yeah, who are older than me.
My nieces and nephews. I mean, they married late,
Yeah.
really late.
Yeah. And they just started having kids.
They just started having kids, 35, 36.
But that's like a really weird concept to me that like people, it just seems like kind of the same. Like that's very comforting but that makes change even more disruptive and probably hard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like even if you do get married and then you have a kid or something and then you're like, oh, I don't really like this. You could just go back to the same and go back.
Well, I think it's just harder to think about having kids these days because, you know, you don't know what to expect. You know,
Another
with the pandemic, you know, just
all the, now there's like all this stuff about microplastics and like cancers that people are having due to microplastics or like who knows what.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling when you think about it.
Yeah.
You just don't want to think about it, but you have to be aware.
Yeah.
And try to stay healthy and do what you can to survive, I guess.
Yeah, I would also, I don't know, like following a pandemic, you would think that, you know, there'd be some type of decline, like the whole world stopped literally for a whole year. There has to be some, you know, slowdown. And I think everyone was just kind of on a high after everything. And then, like, I don't know, I feel like now we're starting to be like, oh, what's going to happen? You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, especially this country, so.
Yeah. This is a good one, I guess, to transition into art by Fatima Rose. How does she feel about the world now versus before? Like when you were my age, when you were 28, how did you feel about the world?
Well, I was too busy to think about the world back then because I was pregnant with you and had
With
2
me?
kids. I think so. You're 28.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, I mean, 28. I was
Almost the greatest year of your life.
I don't know what we what we be doing without you.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. So I guess you didn't, but also you had like less access to constant information with like social media, like.
You know, yeah, you know, this is the darndest thing, because I was thinking we should get a world atlas map, you know, where you flip through you need a map, atlas map book. So you have atlas for every state, so you know how to get around if the cell phone or the navigation does stop working.
That's actually really legit because my phone has been acting up a lot, and I think I cut this out on one of my podcasts, but I talked about a theory where I follow Space Weather Live app, and it tells you when the auroras or solar flares are happening, and then it'll also notify you when there are radio blackouts. And I feel like I can actually tell sometimes. I can't really tell, but like not confirmed, but sometimes my phone will just be acting weird or like the internet will be off. And giant solar flares have been known to wipe out small electronic devices. So why do we all think that we're super safe with our devices?
Right, I know.
So that's kind of a good idea. Even like, yeah,
I don't know if I was dreaming or I was just thinking about it.
Interesting.
We need to get an atlas map.
Okay, so everyone get their maps.
If you could find one.
Yeah. I actually have a memory of like being in Vegas when we were driving to like Arizona, and I guess the iPhone must have just come out or something because we were navigating to Bullhead and Dad did not trust the maps. He was like, I'm not trusting map. I remember that. The app, and instead he was like, he had a map out. So we'll go back to those days, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true.
Okay, well, remind yourself to get a map. Did you have anything else to add to the then versus now?
Then versus now. Oh my gosh, I could go into a lot of things, but it's more politics than anything. World has changed, and I would say it's scarier time. Not for any better. So it's kind of a depressing. I would have some gold in your hand, on hand, some cash on your hand. I mean, you know, just in case. But
stash away the money.
yeah, it's just different. So much has changed.
Okay. One question that I had was from this mama who is raising half Korean kids.
Oh.
Yeah, she's in Austin.
Oh.
Okay. Eli Shin asks, can you please ask her how she navigated raising y'all and respecting both cultures?
Well, in the Northwest, I mean, we talked about this on my first podcast or Spotify, but Northwest is where a lot of people immigrated to, and
You grew up in Washington,
Washington State.
but also like LA has like a huge Koreatown.
Oh yeah, yeah, true too. So I mean, I was lucky enough where I didn't really notice the huge change.
Huh.
Because, I mean, 1975, we didn't have a lot of Asians, but I think my neighbors, my school classmates were very nurturing and very accepting.
Yeah, that's
But-
how I feel about Washington.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of has everyone there.
Yeah. So it was pretty easy, I think. I mean, hardship, yes, just because we didn't have a lot of money, so we had to do what we had to do to survive.
But I think she's asking how you navigated raising me and my siblings.
Oh,
and
you're
respecting both cultures.
Yeah, that's a good question, but
I think because we grew up in Washington for like the first half of our childhood, you have like
I have so many
8
sisters
siblings.
yeah.
And so they all pretty much, except for like one, still lives in Korea, and they
Mhm.
all immigrated to Tacoma, Washington.
Mhm.
So we grew up like me and my siblings' first community was all of our cousins who are all Korean or half Korean.
Mhm.
So, and then in Korean culture, you go to like one sibling's house and then just all bring food and then you just eat a bunch of food. I would say the most we experienced Korean culture was through food.
Exactly. And church.
Yeah, I vaguely
Church,
remember that.
food,
but
and family.
yeah, we went to a Korean church. That seems to intrigue a lot of people too.
Really?
Like I've told a few people, like especially in Austin when I was like going to church for the first time since my Korean church, they were like, "Oh, did you go to church in Alaska?" I was like, "No," but I went into Tacoma and it was like a Korean church, and they were like, "What?"
Sunday school.
They were like, "Was God Korean?"
Yes.
Was it in Korean or was it in English?
English.
Yeah, that's what I remember it being. In.
I mean, there was English service, Korean service. For you guys, it was Sunday school in English, but they tried to teach you Korean.
Don't remember that.
It was a Korean class.
Is that where I learned Nabiya?
No, that was in Korea.
Oh, yeah. So I think it was probably easier for you to raise or respect your half of the culture because you just already had a built-in community
Yeah,
and village.
right.
How
Yeah.
did you respect the
And
American?
I mean, just being in the army, community, a lot of people in the army are married to Koreans.
And all types of people in the army.
Well, yeah, but because army post is usually in Korea too.
Yeah, Yongsan.
So.
How did you respect the white culture?
What do you mean?
She said,
Growing up?
I don't. Maybe she's not. I think she might be a different ethnicity, but in raising the kids, she's like asking how you raise and respect both cultures.
I mean,
I think just living in America.
Yeah, I mean, just I didn't really think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
just I've been here since when I was 8, so I'm more American than Korean, I think, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Koreans would probably say so in Korea.
yeah.
Yeah. You also cook a lot. I think you can share culture through food a lot, but you cook both foods.
Both, yeah. Every food, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm making Thai food today, so.
Yesterday you made fajitas.
Fajitas.
Okay. Jackie Ang. Being mixed growing up, identity issues, etc. Did you ever experience any type of issues with us being multicultural?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Mm-mm.
The first time I became aware of my differences was at USC in LA.
College.
Yeah.
I think Dexter said the same thing.
Interesting.
I don't know. Not much so with Callie.
Yeah, Callie I think just looks like a bunch of different ethnicities, so she can kind of pass for anything.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, I felt like I experienced, I think in Anchorage, people, like, our school is like apparently like the third most diverse high school in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, I don't know, top 5. So people are very accepting. 2 miles.
Mm.
And yeah, like the popular kids, I don't know, you had like popular Asian kids, popular black kids. Like it was really just about like your character. Like if you were annoying, you would not be popular.
I think that's the main reason why. I mean, there's 2 reasons. I know South Anchorage had more white collar.
White people too.
Yeah. And kind of isolated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that, you know, the West Side, the West High School was very, you know, multicultural.
Yeah.
You know, close to everything.
I attended all of the oldest schools in the district, but I think they were all the best schools in the district. West Anchorage. Yeah, it's funny because like this is so niche, but like in South Anchorage, they would go to like the Taco Bell in the Diamond Mall parking lot. And that's what they would do.
I mean, they had beautiful houses.
Yeah,
you know, just
I remember you guys
new and beautiful houses, but I'm like, Dad just wanted to live there, and I thought, well, what am I gonna do? I mean, if there's snowstorms and I'm not used to that, and you know, 20 minutes out to any stores. You know, what do you want me to do? Just sit here and watch the view?
Yeah, I remember I showed my teacher when we were leaving to Anchorage. You guys had the blueprint of a house that you put an offer for in South Anchorage.
Oh yeah.
And it had like a hangar or something.
Oh yeah,
like
that
an
was
airplane
such.
hangar.
Yeah, that would have been a really cool house. We put an offer and they actually accepted an offer from their own church member.
Church.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't live there, but that was probably the best thing that could have happened. God was looking up for you with that church.
Yeah,
member.
I guess so.
Okay. How is our mother-daughter relationship?
I think it's really, really. I would say almost. I mean, I hate to say perfect, but. You know, I think it's perfect. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I feel like we get along a lot, and like even when I was in Anchorage, like you were like, "Oh, have your friends come over." You're pretty accommodating. I think I, as like almost like a late 20s person, I do need some like space and time every now and then.
Of course.
But I also like coming and hanging out with my mom and dad.
So, almost perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much as good as you can get.
Yeah. We don't really have. Well, I mean, you know, if we have disagreements, you know, we'll say it.
Yeah, like
it's never perfect.
Yeah. Like I have like a lot of friends who just like don't get along with their parents or like wouldn't want to take their advice or whatever. But I feel like you guys trust me and I trust you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, parents, if you're thinking about having a good relationship, you gotta be patient and
Not call your kid fat.
No. Don't be so controlling.
Yeah. Wahid Patwari asks, relationship with mama when you were younger versus present time.
It was just different when you were younger because I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And, I think we try to accommodate everyone, but there are times when you just can't.
Yeah.
And so growing up might have been a little bit of an issue, maybe. How did you feel?
I don't really remember feeling that way.
Well, that's good. We tried not, at least I try to be accommodating and, trying to divide everything equally.
I remember you even trusted me like a lot in high school. I had like
maybe too much.
Yeah, maybe too much. But I literally
Callie would say, "Yeah, you don't know Anne-Marie."
But I had like 100 absences on my report card because if I ever didn't want to go to a class, I would just have my mom call in and she would excuse me with really no questions asked.
Well, just looking at your report card, you graduated with 4.3?
Yeah, I had straight A's
4.4?
up until basically senior year.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't care anymore.
I had
1B.
They would say, attendance is so important, but it's really not.
Yeah. It's like if you can get your work done.
Right.
Like I remember I would write video ideas or like skits because I would be so bored and like just couldn't. I would just be like literally waiting for the clock to pass. But I appreciated that you just let me manage my own schedule, basically.
Yeah, I know, school work is important, but, school time is not that important. And we used to take you out all the time to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, one of my biology teachers literally was like, no one actually cared because I was a really good student and my teachers really liked me, so no one actually cared that I missed school. But he was like, yeah, I would fail you if I could.
Yeah.
But the administration won't let me. He like said it just like that. And I was like,
because your grade was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just missed his class like all the time. Yeah. So when I went back to substitute teacher, I was like, hey, do you remember me? And he was like, I wouldn't ever be able to forget those eyes or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Grace's mom was like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. But yeah. Maria asks, you know Maria?
Maria?
Yeah, Maria Morales.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Maria asks, how to maintain peace of mind.
Meditate.
Do you meditate?
Well, yeah, in my own way.
Okay.
Just, meditate. Meditation is just not
Sitting down. How do you meditate then?
Walk on the beach.
Yeah.
That's my meditation. Walk on the beach. I do sauna and exercise. That's a different way of meditating, getting things off your mind. Stress, right?
Yeah, so those are all very
Cooking.
physical. Yeah.
Cooking, listening to nice podcast or audiobook or whatever, reading.
My podcast.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I honestly don't think my podcasts have been that great lately.
But
we're going to work on them.
For moms, it's always good.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. I would say maybe you're a more physical being, because like sometimes I'll see like, especially Dad and Dexter, like living in their head. Like you'll literally see them like, and I feel like I can be that way too. So I think if you're more mental, you need to be in the physical and do physical things.
Yeah, I'm just not a sitting
you
down.
can't sit down.
I can't sit down. I always tell my sisters, because I'm one of 9.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
No, I'm
You're one of
just
8.
saying one of 9.
Alive?
Yeah, there's 9 of us.
Okay.
right?
I don't know.
No, I mean there's 9 of us, so I always tell. And there's two boys right above me, and I always tell my sisters, "Kuksung majo." That means we just we're just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, your
Just
mom was like that too.
yeah, you can't sit. We just can't sit still, and we're just always on the go, go, go.
Yeah, I think that dad in his
Overdue.
podcast said like I get my athletic abilities from my mom. And also all of our cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all go to the gym. They all like exercise.
Mm.
I would say they're all pretty like in their body or comfortable in their body. Like they're all good dancers. I'm not. But like have you seen like Alina and like Adam dance?
Oh yeah.
They're pretty good. So yeah, I think if you're like a brainy person, you literally need to find activities. I think everyone just needs like a physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I like to journaling. I think is life changing to maintain peace.
Okay.
You also talk a lot. You talk to people if something's bothering you.
Oh yeah. Definitely. If it's something that bothers me, I have to be expressive.
That's like Callie too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how to maintain a peace of mind? Find your own way of meditation. Yeah. For me, it's like probably walking. I haven't gone to yoga actually like a lot at all in this last year.
Mm.
But that I love journaling. I honestly think that like podcasts and like videos are meditative too.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about it that way, but yeah, for you.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because I've been talking a lot to my friend Kelly Stamps about, or she's been sending me like whatever videos and.
Well, you like driving too.
Oh yeah, I love driving. I love anything where you can be doing something in the moment, but it's kind of like, I don't know how you describe that. Like it takes mental.
It's kind of spontaneous, or no?
Yeah, but also like you're doing something like I started reading and walking because you have to be like kind of focusing. I don't know. It's not just requiring like one thing. I think I like multi-sensory like inputs. Like for driving, you're doing something and then you're seeing.
Right.
So then you're having to like respond to an outside environment. If you're walking and reading, like you're not just sitting there because like otherwise I'll play with my like hair or like scalp or something, or like I'll bite my cuticles. So if I'm walking, then I have something that I can be physically doing, and I have to like look where I'm walking.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Kathrout asks, making friends as you get older, because I feel like both of us are actually, I had the biggest problem making friends in college. For my first 2 years, I felt extremely lonely, but after that, I've only made more and more friends. So
for me, once your kids are out of the house, it's harder, especially now that we moved 2 times. Within 2 years, 2-3 years.
That's a good point. Yeah, you should speak.
And I grew up in the Northwest, coming from Alaska, living there for 16 years, and especially coming down south is very it's 360 turnaround for
180.
me. 180 turnaround.
Because I need to be in the same place. Huh? I make that.
Yeah. Or yeah.
It's like a flip.
Yeah. A 180 turnaround. And it was just the worst time for me in my life, I think, because, just after the pandemic and menopausal and just being hot and just, hot flashes, especially in this hot southern humidity, was just horrible. But I had really good neighbors. I think I'm fortunate. Even in Georgia, I had very good neighbors. We still talk and get together when Dad, works there. And here, I have really great next door neighbor. Just neighbors are really important. But other than that, it's just really, really, it's been very difficult. And I guess, I could say go get a job and go volunteer and, just do something where you can meet other people.
You
But
also wait, what?
but I mean I love I would I'm always interested. Doesn't matter how old.
Yeah, I feel like you always have older friends.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
56.
And your friend, I feel like you always have friends that are like 70.
You know what? I have a neighbor right now. There's 71. I have
How old is Sue?
like 77.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice because there's like this whole discussion now on like social media of intergenerational friendships.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I've always been exposed to like people my parents' age and way older.
Yeah.
Like in between my grandma.
I think I always had older friends. I mean, obviously not when I was, growing up, but yeah, I think I just get along with a lot of mature people. The only friend that I have who's my age is Laura. She's exactly my age. And yeah, because I have older sisters.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say if you're trying to make friends, I don't know, like thinking of like a college or like a young adult setting or like a mid-20s setting, you can't be desperate. I think you actually I think the benefit of not having friends for a period of time, at least for me, the period of time that I felt like I made absolutely no friends was I was forced to learn how to being by myself. But I think people can tell when you're desperate for friends. And I don't know, I think it's also important to let people live their own and have their own space. But I don't know. I
think it's there's two different people. Like if you're a socialite, I guess you have to have other, you need friends, they need friends.
You need each other.
You need each other, and it's useful.
Yeah.
But I think you're like I am. You don't need people to always constantly entertain you.
Yeah.
You could entertain yourself. Because, I don't really need anyone in my life because I like to exercise. I like to take walks. And, I meet a lot of people in the sauna, so.
You have met a ton of friends in the sauna.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing. When Aaron and I went to the, what's it called? Float tank.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a subscription or a membership to their sauna room. And he he was giving us a tour of the facility. He was like, this is a sauna where at least 3 businesses have been formed from the connections made there. Because I think there's something to sitting in a sauna.
You're in an intimate situation.
Yeah. I think some actual maybe tips, tangible, because I've made a bunch of friends and connections even on planes, and when I tell people that, they're like, what? I think body language, because when I was younger and more introverted, I felt like my body didn't match up with how I felt inside, so I would come across really resting bitch face type thing. So being receptive, not having your headphone on, not being in your phone the whole time. That's how I met Elliot. You just make random conversation, because a lot of the time people want to talk to you or would talk to you, but it's breaking the ice barrier. I feel like you're really good at that too. You'll just say something random, but not so random that you're weird. You're just beautiful day outside. Yeah, that's all you need to do sometimes.
Well, the lady on the plane last time going to see you to Austin, she was she had the Brooklinen bag. And I said, oh, yeah, Brooklinen. I love that, website.
Not sponsored.
They're really not sponsored. If you want to sponsor, yes, we'll take it.
I'll ask them.
But it's such a great company. Good quality, FYI.
Yeah. Yeah, I made friends with the guy who was sitting next to me on the plane.
Oh, yeah.
He was a 60-year-old man. And I just apologized for waking him up to go to the bathroom, because I was like, I'm gonna really need to go.
My bladder's about to burst.
I felt really bad. There was a time in my life where I wouldn't ask but you just can't do that. When I was younger, I wouldn't ask, but Then I don't know how we started talking. Maybe he started talking to me, but I think you just have to be receptive and like signal, like in a plane, like if you want, you say hi when they sit down, and then you'll notice that like a lot of people won't even like look at you, so they're probably not gonna like talk to you. But I've had so many conversations in planes.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, me too.
yeah, I guess just being like smiling at people, being receptive to their energy, acknowledging that they're there. I think there's no ruder thing than just not acknowledging a person. So I think that does a lot. Like even when you're just passing by on the street or the beach, you just like, you don't have to go out of your way and be like, "Hey," but you just like say hi with your eyes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people who talk to me on the beach.
Yeah, me too. Like
But I have my earplugs or
yeah, me too.
AirPods on.
Yeah, I always try to take them out
Yeah,
too, even
yeah.
if I don't know or care.
Mhm.
I think it's just nice to treat everyone with the same kindness.
Yeah.
Okay, any other good tips for making friends?
Just be open-minded and, have a nice, happy eyes.
I think the biggest thing for me, which maybe would not apply to everyone, but having something that you're good at or interested in. Like I've made a lot of friendships just by having like a YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and just like DMing some. And I also think because I would actually never, I'm still not very good at this, but I have like a lot of friends who choose their friends by just like reaching out to them. Like even my editor, she said she's kind of like chosen all of her friends and people in her life because she'll reach out to them
That's interesting.
and then she'll become friends with them. Like she's been editing for me just because she was like one of the only people to reach out to edit for me. And then I ended up just like really liking her.
I guess that's totally different of meeting people than in your social media.
Yeah. But if you have something like that, like Elliot started photography, like he started with photography, so he would just reach out to people to take their photos. So like kind of providing some value, or like you share food a lot. So it's like if you can have something, because I think a lot of friendship is kind of about reciprocity. It's like you do something for them, they do something for you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or just like being the one to extend yourself first. Like you'll invite your neighbors to eat or something, and they'll invite you over for like a drink. And then because a lot of the time I think you can easily make friendships, but you're not often in the same place or scenario. That's like the good thing about school, is you're forced to be there together, but as you get older you have less and less of those types of environments. So kind of like creating that is important. Yeah, like my next step, I have like a bunch of small connections that, and I don't really like just being on my phone like texting people back and forth, but I have met like so many people in the last years where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll invite them and host them in Alaska.
Yep.
Yeah, or do like an Alaska trip, or organize. I've never actually really done that where like I organize like a trip, but I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be a good way to curate with people that can also be friends with each other.
Right.
Yeah. And also meeting friends through friends is cool, but
Oh, yeah.
not always easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good point.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being on my podcast.
You're welcome.
Do you have any phrase or word or emoji that they should leave to let us know that they listened this far?
Mom.
Okay, I need to pee. Thank you for watching. And oh wait, the emoji that she said was like the one with the hand out, in an upside down L. If you're just listening to this on Spotify, but I guess you wouldn't be leaving a comment. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next podcast.
Bye.
Bye.